It started last winter. My name is Logan Hayes. I live in Cedar Falls, Iowa. I work nights as a visiting nurse. This happened last winter. I had a new case on the late shift. An old veteran, hard of hearing, lived alone in a small house. The closet was stuffed with old newspapers. I drove there at 10. The town smelled like rain and cheap coffee. He was quiet and polite. He slept a lot. I took vitals, wrote them down, no fever, all normal. But when I sat and wrote, he would murmur. Not words, little clipped sounds. Ta Keisha. I thought he was dreaming. An ambulance siren passed. His murmur matched the rhythm. Not the tone, the beat. It happened more than once. I asked if he heard it. He tapped his ear and shook his head. Hard of hearing, I said to myself. The bedroom had a weird smell, like old batteries. Once he woke with both pupils blown wide, like black moons. He stared and then slept. I took photos for the chart. Weeks later, I looked at his phone pictures. Close-ups of his palms holding dry, cracked earth. Thin hairline scratches cut the skin. The scratches made little lines, like odd symbols. I could not read them. The closet was full of newspapers and dust. Tucked inside was a little journal. It was written in columns, neat like a grocery list. But the items were times, 3:03, 4:40, 1:13. I thought at first they were pill times. Then I noticed they matched nights when sirens were loud. I keep careful notes in the clinic EMR. One night at home, I opened his chart to finish notes. There was a line I did not type, a single entry that said, "We agreed to wait." I called the office. No one else had my login, the line stayed. On different nights, I took different routes home. I saw the same unmarked white van at 3 different intersections, even though I drove 3 different ways. Each time it had a tiny paper crucifix on the dash. First time it hung right side up. The second and third times it was face down. He kept a late-night journal, short entries, columns of times and single words. Wait, quiet, listen, not tonight. He wrote not tonight like a warning. The times fit a pattern. I began to think someone else was keeping a schedule. I told myself I was helping. I told myself I could leave any time. But I stayed. One night the house felt hollow. At 3:03, the living room lights flicked. The veteran woke. Pupils huge. He said one clear syllable, "We." He looked at the closet like it held an answer. I opened the closet. Newspapers rustled. Under them was a little radio, black and old. The dial sat between stations. I touched it and felt something like a pause, like the air held still. I closed the door and sat down. My hands shook. The EMR line appeared again the next morning. "We agreed to wait." Same words, same punctuation. The photos on his phone later showed deeper scratches. The symbols looked more like instructions. I quit that case. I changed his status to closed. I brought the journal and a copy of the photos to the clinic. The supervisor shrugged and filed it. No patrol, no check. I felt small and useless. I still see white vans sometimes. I still smell battery metal in odd places. Once in my car, a radio station warped, and for a few seconds I thought I heard clipped syllables. Maybe static, maybe my mind, maybe not. I tried to tell it like it was. Small things. I forgot to lock my bike one night and it was fine. The floorboards creaked when my cat ran. I hummed to keep calm. I told a friend. She asked, "You sure?" I lied, "Yeah." Sometimes at night I read the times in the journal. I set no alarms, but I find myself waking at odd moments. I think about who we is. A person? A group? A schedule someone else keeps? I wish I had torn up that journal. I wish I had not looked in the closet. I do not know what kept the schedule. I do not know who wrote the line in the EMR. I do not know what the symbols meant. Some things are left. It makes me check my locks twice. If you ever visit someone at night, notice small things. A radio that stutters. How a van shows up more than once. How a list of times can look like a grocery list but mean something else. It bothered me. It stays with me. I keep thinking I should have done more. Sometimes I drive by his street. I slow and look at dark windows. The house looks smaller. I tell myself it was only strange things, but I do not believe that anymore, not really. It started right after my dad's funeral last November. My name is Ethan Brooks. I live in Ashland, Oregon. I'm not really good at telling stories or whatever, but I need to get this out somewhere. Maybe typing it all down will help me sleep again. So, my dad passed away last November. Lung cancer. He was a land surveyor for like 40 years before he retired. After the funeral, my aunt gave me this old wooden case with his theodolite inside. You know, that tripod thing surveyors use to measure angles and stuff. There was also this beat-up leather folio tucked underneath it. Inside were pages and pages of coordinates, all written in pencil. Just farm names and dates from the 70s. Nothing else. No notes or explanations. I'm a surveyor too, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to visit some of these places Dad had worked. See what he saw, I guess. I picked one at random. Harlow Farm, June 1974. Plugged the coordinates into my GPS. The place was out past Route 9, way out where the houses stop, and it's just fields for miles. I found this old feedlot that looked abandoned for decades. Rusted equipment everywhere, weeds growing through cracked concrete. Behind it was a stand of cedar trees that matched the coordinates exactly. The ground there was weird, too flat, like someone had scraped it smooth by hand. It smelled like diesel fuel and old hay, which didn't make sense because there was no machinery nearby. I set up my equipment and started taking measurements, mostly out of habit. That's when my phone's compass went crazy. Just started spinning and spinning, then locked hard toward this little dip in the soil about 10 feet away. I walked over and scraped some dirt aside with my boot. There was a metal disc buried there, maybe 8 inches across, covered in rust. It had 8 shallow notches cut into the edge, evenly spaced. Looked handmade. I took some photos and drove into town to ask around. Nobody remembered anything about that property. The lady at the county records office said it had never been sold. Just sitting there since 1971 under some LLC that didn't exist anymore. But here's the thing that got me. She mentioned that farmers nearby kept complaining about their livestock refusing to cross a certain fence line. When she showed me the property map, that fence line ran right through where I'd found the disc. I went home and imported my survey data into my tablet that night. I was just scrolling through elevations when I saw them. These tiny dips in the ground level, barely noticeable. But when I plotted them together, they formed a pattern. It looked like teeth. Rows and rows of teeth. I couldn't sleep. Around 3 a.m., I was still staring at my screen when I realized I was humming something. This lullaby my dad used to sing when I was little, except I couldn't remember the words. Never could. It just sort of existed in my head without language. The dreams started that same night. I'd see my father sitting at a drafting table, drawing those same 8 notches over and over on yellow paper. He'd hum that lullaby the whole time. His pencil would scrape and scrape and scrape. I went back to the county office the next week. Started pulling records for that area, building permits, birth certificates, anything. Whole pages were missing. Not torn out, surgically removed, like with a razor blade. Each file had exactly 8 pages gone. 8. I counted. I brought the disc home. I don't know why, I should have left it there. Last night, I was sitting in my garage, just looking at it under my workbench light when I got this stupid idea. I grabbed a flathead screwdriver and pried at one of the notches. It came loose with this soft click. Then I heard it. From somewhere under my garage floor, this long, low echo, it sounded like singing. Multiple voices, all humming that same lullaby in unison. It went on for maybe 15 seconds before it faded out. I haven't opened my garage since. I keep checking my dad's folio. There are 43 more coordinates in there. 43 more locations he measured and marked down without explanation. I don't know what to do with them. I don't know what he found or why he kept going back. But sometimes late at night I catch myself humming that lullaby again, and my hand starts reaching for a pencil. I work as a medical examiner in this small town up north, where winters drag on forever and folks mostly mind their own. Not much happens, which suits me fine. I deal with the usual, old folks passing in their sleep, maybe a hunting accident now and then. My setup's in the hospital basement, dim lights, metal tables, and that constant chill from the concrete walls. I don't talk much about myself, but yeah, I've been here 10 years, living in a rental with creaky stairs that always wake me if the wind picks up. Anyway, this all kicked off around last December, snow blocking the roads half the time. It began small, you know? I'd come in early, sip my coffee, black, no sugar, from that thermos I got at the flea market, and flip open the intake log. Boom, wrong case numbers staring back. One body marked 25-007 when it should have been 25-021. From weeks earlier. I figured the night shift guy, Bob, was slipping. He's older, always griping about his arthritis flaring up in the cold. "Must have been late, Doc," he'd mutter, scratching his beard. But then, whole entries missing. Bodies in drawers with zero paperwork, just the toe tag, and the slot half open like it was waiting for me to notice. I started jotting notes in my own notebook, the one with the frayed cover from carrying it everywhere. The time of death stamps? Those really got under my skin. Everyone rounding to 4:22 a.m., no matter the day or cause. Heart attack on Monday, overdose Tuesday, same minute. I checked every clock in the place, even synced my watch to my phone. All good. Coincidence, I whispered to myself, but it stuck like gum on a shoe. I began pulling longer hours, ignoring how my back ached from the stiff chair. The coffee machine gurgled funny too, spitting ground sometimes, but I ignored that. After midnight, the freezer changed its tune. Regular hum during day, but at night, deeper, rumbling like thunder way off. I'd stop mid-autopsy, gloves on, scalpel hovering, and tilt my head. One shift, I yanked open drawer 3 for Mrs. Hargrove, the widow from the bakery. Should have been rigid, cold as ice. But no rigor, and her cheek, warmish, like she'd just nodded off. I poked gently, arm flexed soft. Slammed it shut, breath catching. That night I left my keys in the ignition, had to trudge back through slush. A stupid mistake. Few days on, tagging a guy from a farm mishap, tractor rollover. Sealing the pouch felt something extra. Pulled out a creased index card. Names listed neat. Cops: Sergeant Mills, Deputy Ortiz, Patrolman Lee, then Town Clerk Ms. Vaughn and Reverend Thompson from the Methodist Church. Each with a number, say 22, and a smudged charcoal spot. Hands trembled unfolding it. Who sneaked that in? Pocketed it fast, heart thumping. Later, Janitor Rico swings by with his mop, bucket sloshing. "Boss, the scale's busted." Reads flat 0 even with weight on it. Tried a chair, same thing. He laughed, nervous. wiping sweat despite the cold. His stories about his apartment's radiator clanking at odd hours, sounding like knocks, didn't help. Brushed it off, but tested the scale alone. Yep, needles stuck. And those DNR labels, peeling identical every time. Top right corner lifts, then rolls off. Stuck 'em back 3 nights straight, morning, gone again. Rico mentioned his neighbor's parakeet chirping weird patterns at dawn, mimicking phone rings. "Freaks you out," he said, eyes wide. Sleep evaded me after. Dug into security tapes from a blackout night. Power stuttered at 1:45 a.m. Hall cam, fixed position, but footage shows it swiveling slow to the door. Blurry feed catches a shape gliding by the detector. Lanky, shoulders slumped, gait off, like extra bends in the limbs. No visitor log. Rewound over and over, pulse racing. Showed Bob, he squinted, tape error probably, avoided my gaze. Toe tags next. Flip sides had faint presses, like fingerprints but warped. Matched exact to a kid's book in the lobby, some maze puzzle left for waiting families. I'd skim it on lunch, sandwich crumbs falling. Center drawing, twisty paths, tiny figure trapped. Its hand, extra digits, 7 maybe, crude sketch. Tags echoed that shape. Left the book shut, next shift it's splayed open on my filing cabinet. Tension built slow, then snapped one lone evening. Freezer growling deep. Heard a drawer rasp open, metal on metal. Hesitated, yeah, froze up. Crept back with my phone light, main bulb flickering weak. Drawer 4 ajar, sheet rumpling like shallow breaths underneath. Reached to shove it closed, fingers, icy, too many, clamped my wrist from below. Squeezed hard, nails digging, jerked free, tumbled back, butt hitting tile. Drawer banged shut alone. Bolted out, fumbled the lock, sped home, tires spinning. Forgot my coat inside, shivered all drive. These days, I stick to day shifts, dodge the basement after dark. That card, 3 names scratched through now. Mishaps, Piper's column. Footage, deleted it all. Wonder if whatever's there tracks me still, patient, or my imagination's shot from too many quiet nights. Either way, I bolt every window, check 'em thrice. And Rico? He quit last week, said the mops moved on their own. Town feels smaller now.